Hello, Natalie. Welcome. It's so nice to see you tonight.
Good evening, Steph. How are you doing?
Yes, really well. Super excited to talk to you, actually. We have been talking a little bit these last few days
Oh,
because the roundtable is coming up. And of course, tonight we're going to be talking about SaCSA, Beauty Expo, all things education, updating packages and reforming education. But before we start, Natalie, please, for those watching right now, tell us who you are and what is SaCSA and how are we working with you as ABIC and as industry.
awesome. Thanks, Steph. And yeah, really excited to be here tonight, but more excited about what's coming at the roundtable on Saturday and our next steps. So, for those of you that aren't familiar with SaCSA, hi, my name is Natalie Turmine, and I'm the CEO of Service and Creative Skills Australia. We're actually a not-for-profit organisation, but we are federally funded by the Department of Employment Workplace Relations. And what we're funded to do as a Jobs and Skills Council is to do all the workforce planning and training package updates for a number of industries. And beauty industry is one of the industries we look after, being that it is creative and it's also a service-based industry as well. So that comes under our personal services portfolio. And so part of our remit, workforce planning is the key thing that we do. We actually look at the sector. We have a look at what skills are required now, what skills are going to be required in the future, what kind of workers you have, what kind of workers you need. We also look at, from a stewardship point of view, we are a voice of industry to government. So we're representing you in your skill needs. So all the training packages that are currently delivered by the vet sector. So that's, if you hear me say vet, that's vocational education training. All of those training packages in the which is in the hair and the beauty package, we are actually the custodians of. So if you want anything in those packages updated, deleted, changed, new ones brought in, that is exactly what we do. So we're really excited, Steph, to be talking to you all. We're only 2 years old, so we've completed 3 workforce plans now, and our last workforce plan just went live, I think it was 2 weeks ago. So if you have a look on our website or our LinkedIn page, you'll find that. And there is actually a snapshot of your sector. So what it looks like, the breakdown, what your key challenges are, and what industry's telling us they want moving forward. So yeah, really excited about these next steps.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that you're only 2 years old. We're 4 years old. So prior to SaCSA and prior to ABIC, there's many of you out there thinking, oh, but we've had a lot of problems with our training packages. It's not fit for purpose. They haven't been updated. Well, the last time they weren't updated for ages before they were updated. Probably not fit for purpose after they were updated because of all of the, we've had a lot of feedback from the industry saying that we're really needing reform. So I suppose the sentiment in the industry is, oh, okay, here we go again. What are we going to get? How are we going to get our voices heard? Is this going to happen? Are we going to get education or updates to the training packages, education reform and things like that? Important to note that SaCSA is only 2 years old, so they're the new players. And ever since we've been dealing with SaCSA, wow, I can tell you there's a big difference between the previous system and the new system going forward. It's a complete overhaul, isn't it, Natalie?
Yeah, it is. These jobs and skills councils, so there's actually 10 of us. There's like one for manufacturing, one for energy, there's some for the care sector, construction. We look after, as I mentioned, we've got all of the arts, personal services, tourism, hospitality, and retail. And the big difference is we're not just about updating training packages. The previous iterations over the last 20 years, that's what they've done. So where we're different is we've actually been appointed, so we're actually industry led. So we're not government led, we're not, we are industry led. So we are telling government what industry needs. So that's the biggest difference. And we're seeing that it's been a massive change. And I think, the hairdressing industry has gone through a very similar journey of you guys. A lot of their training packages haven't been updated since 2016. But we did a similar, like the roundtable we're about to do this weekend. We did one 12 months ago with the hairdressing industry. And we just did another conference with them. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, announcing that the training package updates had been approved and that we're progressing on to the next steps. So we've had over, in total now, 5,400 hairdressers provide us with feedback on what they want in the training package, how they want it changed. We're completely and utterly throwing the current one in the bin and redesigning it. So this is the exciting bit about this Jobs and Skills Council model. So, and Steph, I mean, you grabbed us straight away. One of the first stakeholders. You sit on our strategic workforce advisory group representing the sector. But I think it was just that keenness, to say, we have an issue here, we need your help, what can we do next? And so thank you for this opportunity to start our first lot of roundtables on Saturday, because this is actually the most critical step for us to start this process.
Yes, okay. So the roundtables, we'll talk about that because that's really a pivotal step in moving forward. But tell us a little bit about how, when you work with government, they obviously approve funding. They're the ones that say, yes, we can go ahead and reform. Can you tell me a little bit about that process and how SaCSA actually influence whether the training packages are reviewed or not?
Yeah, and we're funded sort of in two buckets. We've got our core funding, which enables us to turn the lights on every day and do all the workforce planning and the stakeholder engagement that we do. But when we actually want to then undertake an activity for industry, so we'll call a training package update an activity because that's what it is, we can actually then apply as part of our activity funding basket to actually say, we have evidence here, both statistically, so qualitative and quantitative evidence from the industry, that this training is required. So we need to be able to demonstrate what is wrong with the current training, what's going to be needed, what that would look like. We put in a submission, and we've got several training package updates going across a number of our sectors at the moment. So it's relatively simple process, but there's a lot to it. So what we need now is to get from industry, what do you need? What do you want? So we can put the application in.
And without this is why we're having the roundtable. So without this, we don't actually, if we don't put a case forward, a very strong case for change, for updating, for reform, and in hairdressers' case, they've gone and scrapped the whole training packages and starting again. A lot of people are listening to this thinking, gosh, I think we really need the same in beauty. Beauty is so much more beauty and dermal aesthetics. The whole industry has undergone so much change in the past 20 years. It really, when you're looking at the training packages, there's no great pathways for career growth. There's no real, there's a little bit of a pathway there, but they don't intersect. They don't wonderfully meld into each other, and they don't support each other. And we're looking at so many gaps within the qualifications, and really even the what our occupations are called. So from everything, from start to finish, it's looking like, wow, we would love to be able to reform this. In this roundtable, what do you want to get out of this roundtable? What's the outcome that will influence government?
Yeah, look, I think the key thing for us first up is getting a really clear understanding of what's not working. So, whether it's the name of the qualification is wrong, so it's not attracting the right people, right down to what's actually being taught or how it's being taught or the assessment process that's attached to it. These are the nuggets that we need to sort of understand. Also, what's happening from a consumer demand change. Like, there's so many things in your training package that you're doing every day in the salons now, but are not actually in the training package. So we need to actually bring it up to speed with what you're actually doing in the workplace and get rid of some of that old archaic stuff that's not being done anymore. So that's a key thing out of the workshop, is understanding what does good look like. If you actually take a journey of somebody who's entering the workforce for the first time, or somebody who's transferring and has other transferable skills as well too, but what's the journey that they need to go on to actually get the skills you need? And when I say we're sort of throwing it in the bin in the hairdressing sector, what we're actually doing is we're actually looking at reforming, along with government, how vocational education and training is actually designed and delivered. And our sectors in particular, what we're hearing is we are more interested in specialisation pathways. So that, like, looking at skill sets as well too, but also how do I get that career pathway that you mentioned before, Steph, that where's the leadership, what's the next step? How do I then get the business skills and the digital skills and the social media skills that I need if I want to start my own business as well? So the workshop's going to be very much around what does good look like for your industry so that we can start fleshing it out and start building it. And that then will become the solution. We are vocational education experts. We are not beauty experts. So it has to be led by industry. And like, as I said there, we've had over 5,400 hairdressers. We've had massive amount of workshops. So Saturday will be step one. There'll be lots and lots of consultation. And that will take several months because we want to make sure that we're getting it right and we're hearing from you all. So that's what we want on Saturday. What does good look like?
Wonderful. And so this, people are thinking, okay, let's reform education, let's update training packages. This is all good and well. Well, just hurry up already. Like, why isn't this happening? Our industry really needs it and it needs it yesterday. Give us a realistic, sort of outlook. These things take time. We know it takes time, but to industry, it seems like a simple thing. What's the process and the time frame that's involved in actually carrying out such a big task and endeavor?
Yeah, look, everything for me never moves fast enough, so I always struggle with that part as well too. But it probably would take about 18 months from woe to go. And the reason behind that, we have to consult and gather the evidence first. So we need to get a mixture of employers, educators, and the suppliers because we want to make sure that they're sort of part of this conversation as well. We need to draft the changes. We also have technical committees that will be put in place as well because we're not only most likely with your industry, probably not just going to be looking at the training content, but it's how the training's put together and how it's designed so that we can make those changes so it's more suitable for your sector. We do need to actually validate it, and that's a public process. So this is it's called the training program. Now I've lost it. We call it TPOF, and I can't even think of the acronym at the moment.
But
it's the framework
so
to update. Yeah. To update the training packages. We then need to get national endorsement. So it's actually got to go through all the state governments as well, because they're the ones that fund training. And they're the ones that are funding the RTOs. So we need to be able to prove not only is this training needed, but the training is going to be effective. Where we're at the moment, so the stage we're at the moment is we're at that evidence gathering stage. So what's needed? What do we want? How are we going to design this? We'll do data surveys, we'll do roundtables, we'll do workshops, lots of ABIC events we're hoping. So we're hoping to jump in with you guys.
Oh, definitely. Don't you worry about that.
Good. We're going to also explore micro-credentials as well and smaller skill sets so that people can come in and skill in and not have to do a full qualification if they don't need to, but come in and learn, and specialize and fast track that process. So we'll do all the consultations in 2025. I've got here draft updates will be done in early 2026 and validation and approval on that will then happen as a result of that. So it's 12 to 18 months, but we've got to get this right because the worst thing we can do is update the training package, roll it out, and then nobody uses it. Or we roll it out and then consumer trends change and it's no longer useful. So
actually,
we want to get it right.
Now that you're speaking, 12 to 18 months is actually very fast. I was expecting a little bit of a longer time frame in terms of actually getting the changes, but then when we roll them out, that actually takes a little bit longer to get them all rolled out into and in practice. Is that right?
Yeah, there's still they call it a train out period where, if you've got people currently doing these certificates in a RTO or a TAFE, they're going to need to finish what they're doing. So yeah, there's a bit of a train out period as it transitions, but yeah, so it's years, until everybody's going to be just doing that, but we've got to start somewhere and we're starting now. So
Yeah,
we're excited.
absolutely. Some people ask, what have you guys been doing? Like, why do we need a peak body? Why do we need a SaCSA? Why do we need an ABIC? We've been okay without it. You deal with so many peak bodies. I mean, you being Skills and Creative Australia, deal with the peak body for personal services, for floristry, for hairdressing, for everything that's in your
hotels, restaurants,
retail,
cafes,
okay,
theaters, music industry, yeah.
You name it. What's the importance of a peak body for every industry?
Yeah, look, I think As far as from a membership point of view, for those that are a part of peak body, is knowing that they've got a voice. It's really hard, and especially in Australia where we've got like 98% of small businesses that get in front of a politician when you're a beauty salon manager, out in Western Sydney or something like that. Like, how do you get that voice in there? How do you make the reform and the changes and things like that? So for us, we deal with over 160 different industry associations and peak bodies, and we access them to access their membership. So we're just one example, but obviously with government, you give your members a really, really good opportunity to actually have your voice heard. And I can tell your industry, we've heard your voice, because Steph was right as soon as we started. She was right there saying, how do we get involved? What can we do? We need this. We've been partnering with you on the ANSCO Oscar
Yes.
stuff as well. Like you're that loud voice, and that's what your job is. You're about stewardship, advocacy, and getting the industry what they need. So I think, yeah, it's absolutely critical, and we need to work with you all as well.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. 160 peak bodies. Wow. I didn't realize it was quite that many. I'm going to ask you for an assessment afterwards. It sounds like we're doing okay if we're front and center and a little and louder than most, which is good. At least we're doing something right there. So on the agenda to talk about at the round table, this is what I suppose the whole thing's culminating to. Tell us specifically what is on that agenda, and how are we going to, because I think we've got quite a few people attending. We sold out twice.
Right.
And then we released more tickets. So how do people prepare for this?
Yeah, sure. Look, I think the people that have put their hand up first and foremost care about this. So they've obviously got something to say. And that's the important thing. Come and have that say. Tell us what those problems are. So this is very much issue collecting, it's evidence collecting, and it's idea collecting as well too. So the team, and they do this for a living, so they're great at these round tables. It doesn't matter if there's 30 in the room or 300, they make it work. And they get everybody's voice as well too. So the team will be coming in. We've got a few SaCSA guys coming on Saturday. The workshop, I'll be there as well too, because it's really important for me to understand these things, because I do, like you, Steph, I do a lot of stewardship as well too. I'm talking to government and policy, and the Jobs and Skills Councils have quite a loud and influential voice in that space. So if I can be there advocating for you guys, so that's why this workshop, as far as come prepared, bring your brains, bring examples as well too. It's really interesting when we do hear, look, this is part of our qualification, but we haven't delivered this in years. So I've had to go out and find a private RTO. It's cost me $3,000 to train my staff, to do this one unit because it's not over here in the main qualification. So just little examples like that. But I think the people that are coming, they've clearly got lots to say. So they're the ones we want in the room.
Wonderful. And then what do you do after, when you've given I suppose, received all this information? What's your next step after that?
Yeah, so next step obviously will be collating it, but we want to actually consult back with the industry first up and say, did we hear you right? Like, is this correct? Like, these were the issues, here's the solutions. And part of that will be those next steps. There might be some things we might need to do a deep dive on, or it might be some stewardship work we need to do as well. But the process there is, it's really about gathering the evidence so that we can clearly demonstrate there's a need to update this training package, go access our activity funds to do that. And then there'll be more consultations, because we're going to need to put technical committees together. So we'll be asking for a mix of vocational education experts, some of the RTOs in your sector, but also some voices of industry as well. So yeah, it'll be really good.
Look, if you're listening to this now, if you're thinking about coming, there's a few places left.
Cool.
We have loads of clinic and salon owners, which is great. We do have one or two trainers that have put their name down to attend. We need suppliers. Suppliers is an important voice in there as well. We so far have not got any suppliers to come and support their industry as well. So I think if we can get a couple of voices out there from you suppliers out there, I know it's right in the middle of Beauty Expo, but it's only 1 hour at 2 o'clock on the Saturday. I've managed to get us a room, a big boardroom that fits 30 to 35 people. We'll all sit around for about an hour to an hour and a half. well, SaCSA will lead the way. We'll get the answers that we need to them, get them their feedback, and then we can go back and enjoy the rest of Expo. And of course, the event on Saturday night, which Natalie, of course, you're invited to as well. And we've released some VIP tickets for that as well. I think there are a few left. So jump on to our social media to have a look for the registration for the roundtable and also for the event on Saturday night as well. I actually want to say thank you so much, Natalie, for you and your team. The incredible dedication from you all, the engagement. I get texts from your team to my phone daily. Would you believe? I talk to Kate almost daily. She's incredible. The team is so sharp and they care so much. They have facilitated countless little workshops, listened to all of our feedback and advice. And then when we do give feedback, it translates into real understanding, and then you feed it back to us to make sure that we get it, that you've gotten it right. You've helped us so much with the ANSCO review, which is now the Oscar review, which is huge because that plays a big part in how education is then reformed and how our occupations look and how we're presented to government, how we're funded, how we're
funded.
respected.
Yeah.
Yep, how we're respected. So people are like, oh, you know, what's the big deal? It is a big deal. The whole thing is a big deal because our industry is important to us. So if you're listening to this, please get involved. Don't pass the buck and think somebody else is going to do it. Remember, hairdressing got over 5,000 voices. And right now we need to be a bit louder because we're not getting as much engagement as we need to. Probably because we haven't had a peak body for like 20 years, whereas hairdressing's had one for 15 years. So they're used to the process. I think our industry is still not used to the process and we need to be louder. You know, our therapists are so soft and lovely and they're feeling and empathetic, but when it comes to standing up for themselves, I think they really need to, you know, join and be a part of. So SaCSA is incredible. You can trust them that they are, you know, on the ball and really helping. And, you know, thank you so much for your care. I can't wait to see you on Saturday. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. No, really looking forward to it, Steph. And yeah, likewise, we couldn't do this without you guys. Like I said, we're industry led. So if we don't hear from industry, there's nothing we can lead. So really looking forward to Saturday. And as Steph said, sign up. We do need suppliers there because we need to be able to demonstrate all the career pathways in this industry. It is a billion-dollar industry. It is exciting, it's dynamic, and we need to make it a lot easier for people to get into and for people to stay in. So yeah, looking forward to Saturday.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. I'll catch you on Saturday at the Beauty Expo. Thanks, Nat. Have a great night.
Thanks, Steph. Good
Bye.
night.